Hello. Today we're going to be talking about the intersections of points, lines, and planes. So we're going to be building on what we've been doing over the past couple of days. So we have to introduce some new vocabulary. We're going to talk about postulate. What a postulate is, it's an accepted statement or fact. Pretty straightforward. Okay? So, first off we have postulate 1-1. It says, through any 2 points there's exactly one line. So through any 2 points, no matter where you draw them, you can only draw one line. If you want to take a second, try and draw 2 lines through 2 points. It's not going to happen. You can only draw one line through any 2 points. Postulate 1-2. If 2 separate lines intersect, then they intersect at exactly 1 point. If you have 2 lines that aren't the same line or aren't parallel, and separate means they're separate but they touch. If they're going to intersect, they're only going to intersect at 1 point. That's the only possible way that they're going to intersect. Once again, if you want to take a couple seconds, try and make it so it doesn't happen. Postulate 1-3. If 2 separate planes intersect, then they intersect forming a line. Now, as we talked about earlier, I'm going to get another piece of paper real quick. If we have 2 separate planes, I have my first plane here, example by this paper. I have my second plane here, right here. When they intersect, they form a line. That's the curve of these things. Well, the edge of the paper. So that would be what happens when 2 planes intersect. If you want to see what's around the room, look in the room. If you look at this wall, because you're in the same room as I am right now, this wall and that wall, what do they intersect? At the corner of the room, which is a line. Okay? That's the intersection of 2 separate planes. So, let's look at an example here. We're going to look at the intersection of planes in this figure, which is a box, or a rectangular box. The question is, what's the intersection of plane ADC and plane at BFG? Now, I did it with color to make it nice and easy to see, but here we have plane ADC in the blue. We have plane BFG in the green. What's going to be the intersection? If this plane keeps going this way and this plane keeps going this way, well, where they intersect is line BC. So, as I know from postulate 1-3, it's a line, and it would be called line BC or line CB. So that would be the intersection of that. Now we're going to go, before we go into postulate 1-4, we have to understand what collinear and coplanar means. Now, for you English people, you have to need to know your roots. The root co means with something. So collinear would mean on the same line. Coplanar would mean on the same plane, with. Points with each other on the same line, points with each other on the same plane. So looking at this, I could say that line AB and line CD are coplanar. I could say that points E and F are coplanar. I could say that lines A and B are collinear. Same line. A and B, same line. C and D, same line. B and C are not on the same line, so they're not collinear. E and B are not on the same line, so they're not collinear. As you see here, G and E are not going to be coplanar because they're not on the same plane. This line and this line wouldn't be coplanar because they're not on the same plane. And etc. That is coplanar and collinear. If you have any confusion, hopefully it's wrapped up in the next example, or you can ask some questions tomorrow. So our last postulate, postulate 1-4. Through any 3 non-collinear points, there is exactly 1 plane. Now, you see I underlined 2 things, non-collinear and 1 point. It's very important. To be a plane, they can't be collinear points. You can't have 3 collinear points and have a plane. That's why it's non-collinear points here, and then there would be 1 plane. So let's do an example of that, all right? I want to know a plane that contains points N, P, and Q. Now, I put my answer in red. I just named it plane P, N, P, Q, but I put it in red to match the shading up here. So this would be, this bottom part of this box would be plane NPQ, as you see here. And the fourth point on there would be point R. So that's plane NPQR. Now a harder one to see will be this next one. What plane contains J, M, and Q? Now as you see here, I have point J up here, point M up here, and point Q. It goes across the box. So as you see here with the blue, I drew a diagonal line across and shaded, so this actual plane would cut through the middle of that box. Now, I did my best with the blue to show you that it goes through and to show you the difference. So hopefully this makes sense. We're going to build onto it, so if it's still struggling, it's a new thing, a visual. We're going to have plenty of time to practice tomorrow in class. I hope you got something out of this, and bring your questions to class tomorrow. See you then.